Latest fake caste census controversy that has now rocked Bengaluru. BBMP has admitted that some of the stickers pasted by them were not done by proper survey. We've got some exclusive footages, exclusive visuals, CCTVs. Take a look at that. The BBMP marking houses for caste census without actually carrying out the actual survey. Now, the BBMP staff has been accused of faking caste census by pasting stickers without actual data collection. Stickers appear on homes without surveys in BBMP's caste census drive-in. Serious allegations have emerged against the BBMP, which is the Bruhat Bengaluru Mahanagara Palike, and its staff for mishandling the ongoing caste census issue. Citizens across the city have raised concerns now that stickers indicating data collection were pasted on houses without actually even speaking to the residents of those homes or collecting any kind of information. During the door-to-door survey, BBMP personnel have reportedly skipped essential procedures, and instead of interacting with the occupants and gathering details, which is how an actual survey is supposed to be conducted, they've simply pasted stickers on the doors, a step that falsely implies that data collection was completed for those residents and those homes. Now, many residents in the city of Bengaluru claim that they were not even aware that a caste census official had visited their home. Quote unquote, they never spoke to us. We just found a sticker on our door, alleged several residents. And in some cases, stickers were even found on vacant houses. I mean, that's rich. Further deepening doubts about the authenticity of the survey process, the caste census and its process in Karnataka. This apparent lapse has now sparked outrage amongst the citizens of the state, specifically Bengaluru city, many taking to social media to express their anger and disbelief. Quote unquote, how can such a sensitive and important process be carried out so carelessly? Questioned several social media users.
Well, this is one house where they have put the BBMP sticker, and when I spoke to the people inside the house, they were unwilling to come in front of the camera, but they've clearly said that nobody from the BBMP has come and spoken to them, and they've just put the sticker over there and they've gone, and no survey has happened. Then there is another house. If I can tell my camera person to just come with me. There is another sticker that has been placed here in this particular house, and these people also, when I went and spoke to them inside, they're unwilling to come in front of the camera, but they have also mentioned that nobody has come and done a survey. The house next to this is locked, but then again there is a sticker over there saying that the survey inside this house has been done. So I asked the neighbors, so they said they have been out for quite some time, they've not been there, but you can see the sticker is over here, the house is being locked. And this is a case in most of the houses that are here. The house opposite to this particular building also has a sticker there. But the people inside said that they are Brahmins and they have not come here for any survey. The only house where I have heard somebody say that survey has been done is the house next to this, where they said that yes, they came, put the sticker, they took some details and they also went. So at some places you have stickers without details being taken from the people living inside. At some places there are stickers where they've spoken to the people. But in most of these cases where we have spoken to, none of the people have accepted or said that BBMP officials came here and spoke to them. They've only put the stickers and they've gone. And this is an objection not just to them, but even the JDS has tweeted this out, saying that a lot of people have come to their houses without any authorization letter, without any details, and have come, taken details of the people and they've gone, and this is a survey that has been done without considering how it could be done, without any template for it, just by putting stickers cannot be done. But when you speak to the BBMP officials, they've just released a press release clarifying the statement, saying that if stickers have been put, that means those places have been surveyed before, and they've put the stickers as a fact, saying that this has been done, these surveys have been done previously. But if the family still has a doubt, they can always call on the number that has been mentioned there, and the details of their survey will be given to them, is what the BBMP clarified. So the BBMP somewhere is saying that some houses whose survey has been done previously, stickers have been put at those houses also.
Moving on, in an embarrassment for the Siddaramaiah government, Dharwad Additional Superintendent of Police, Narayan Bharamani, has resigned from his post allegedly following a public altercation and humiliation by Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. Now, the resignation reportedly stems from a recent incident in Belagavi, where BJP workers staged a protest during a Chief Minister's public event. And during that particular disruption, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah allegedly summoned Bharamani, the additional superintendent, to the stage and publicly reprimanded him, where he even tried to raise his hand in anger, which drew significant public and media attention. Additional SP tendered a 2-page resignation citing various reasons behind his decisions to quit. Now, following the resignation, reports indicate that Chief Minister has reached out to Bharamani, attempting to pacify him and possibly persuade him to withdraw his resignation. Amidst all the political turmoil in the state of Karnataka, the faced caste census case that has now come to light, the Valmiki scam, of course, the chief ministerial row within the Congress party, another problem for Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, now having to reach out to the additional superintendent to pacify him. Well, shifting our focus here to the state of Telangana, where the death toll from the blast at that Sigachi Industries' pharma plant in Telangana, which suffered an explosion just 2 days ago, has now risen to 40. That's the actual death toll at the moment, 40 casualties. A senior official from the Telangana Fire Department, meanwhile, has now confirmed a shocking detail that the company, this huge pharma chemical plant, had neither applied for nor been issued a no objection certificate. Shocking revelation arises that there was no adequate safety measures in place, including fire alarms and heat sensors in the plant, according to the officials. And when asked about possible lapses at the factory, Superintendent of Police Paritosh Pankaj stated that it is a technical matter which must be investigated by specialist teams. Now, Sangareddy Police, acting on a complaint filed by a family member of one of the victims, they've registered an FIR against the factory management in connection with the explosion. The process of DNA profiling is underway, and the identities of 14 more bodies have been established so far. Chief Minister Revanth Reddy had earlier announced that the state government will coordinate with the company's management to ensure a compensation of 1 crore rupee is paid to the families of those who lost their lives in the tragic accident. And shocking news coming in from Tamil Nadu's Kannur district. A 71-year-old was kidnapped, brutalized, and his fingers chopped off by a 5-member loan shark gang. And all the gang members have been arrested and taken into custody. Natarajan from Chidambaram was kidnapped after his son, Manikandan, failed to repay a loan which was originally 6 lakh rupees but later got inflated to 67 lakh rupees with heavy interest. And the name of the man from whom he had borrowed the money is Palanichami. Now, Natarajan was found with severe injuries and a severed finger, the 71-year-old man. The 5 individuals arrested for the crime are Palanichami's elder brother and several other related to Palanichami. 63-year-old, you've got a 70-year-old Paneera Selvam, you've got Devanathan, who's 60-year-old, Mari Selvraj, 63 years old, Pandyan, 50 years old, and of course Palanichami's elder brother, Shaktivel. 5 individuals that have been arrested in this loan shark controversy that has now come to light in Tamil Nadu's Kannur district. Now take a look at this. Following the title controversy over a Malayalam movie, the Kerala High Court has now stepped in and it has directed the producers of the movie, Janaki versus State of Kerala, that's the name of the film, to arrange a screening of the movie for the judge panel whilst hearing their plea challenging the CBFC objection to the title of the movie for the use of the name Janaki, which is another name for the goddess Sita. Now, the bench of Justices N. Nagaresh directed the producers to arrange a special screening this Saturday after the producers conveyed their inability to display the movie inside the courtroom. And earlier, the High Court had castigated the CBFC for its own stand. The court had, prior to that, directed the CBFC to produce the show cause notice issued by it to the producers whilst questioning the CBFC for its objection against the title Janaki versus the state of Kerala. The producers of the movie, Cosmos Entertainments, had approached the High Court, filing a writ petition, being aggrieved by the delay in granting its certification for the release of the movie. So even as the hearing is now underway, the judge panel is going to be watching the movie themselves. There is going to be a special screening this Saturday before the ruling or verdict comes out. Moving on to some poaching alarms that have now come to light near Ranthambore. Ranthambore's tigers, known globally for their majestic presence, are now feared to be on the radar of international poaching syndicates. And this alarming revelation came after a gang of hunters was recently arrested in Shivakumar in Madhya Pradesh, bordering the Ranthambore Tiger Reserve. Now, shocking recoveries of 225 bones, including 3 tiger skulls and a panther skull, have raised suspicion that the missing tigers from Ranthambore may have fallen prey to poaching. DNA tests are underway to confirm whether the remains belong to the tigers that had mysteriously vanished from Ranthambore in the recent years. And whilst the Forest Department claims to have located 10 out of the 25 missing tigers, 15 are still accounted for. The arrested poachers, linked to the Mogia tribe, are said to have international ties spanning Nepal, Myanmar, with payments reportedly routed through Hawala and digital means. And forest officials maintain that strict patrolling exists within the Ranthambore Tiger Reserve, but they have admitted that tigers often stray outside the Ranthambore Tiger Reserve, leaving them vulnerable to these poaching cases, potential poaching. With more than 80 tigers currently living in a reserve meant for just 55, wildlife experts are demanding a high-level probe and stronger protective measures to save Ranthambore's tigers from the growing shadow of illegal hunting.
देखिए टूरिज्म जोन का जो हमें जहाँ तक हमें पता है, टूरिज्म जोन में जो सबसे पहला टाइगर मिस हुआ था T42, जिसको फतेह के नाम से जानते थे, वो जोन 10 से मिस हुआ था. उसके बाद वेरी रिसेंटली आपको पता होगा एक टाइग्रिस T99 मिस हुई है. T99 से पहले एक टाइगर T69 जिसको बोलते हैं, वो भी आतरी के आसपास जोन नंबर 10 से मिस हुई. उसके बच्चे मिले थे, उनको बाद में हमने अबेड़ा बायोलॉजिकल पार्क में शिफ्ट किया था. उस टाइग्रिस की बॉडी भी नहीं मिल रही है. इवन 62 जो मेल टाइगर था जोन नंबर 9 पे रहता, वो भी मिस है से. उसके बाद मुझे लगता है कि टाइगर जो मिस है खंडार रेंज और कुंडेरा रेंज से भी टाइगर मिस है. तो ज़्यादातर जो टूरिज्म जोन से लगभग 5-7 टाइगर मिस है. तो हमारा जो ध्यान है कि जो अभी तक जो सेंसिटिव रेंज है वो आपकी जोन नंबर 10 वाली, जिसको फलोदी रेंज बोल रहे हैं, ज़्यादातर टाइगर का शिकार इसी रेंज में हुआ है जब तक हमने एंटी पोचिंग काम किया है. और ये पोचर्स के लिए सबसे आसान रेंज मानी जाती है टाइगर को पोच करने के लिए.
शिकारी और ये हड्डियाँ बेचने वाला मध्य प्रदेश से पकड़े गए हैं. और मध्य प्रदेश इतना टाइगर वाला स्टेट है, तो जब तक इसको कहाँ से शिकार किया गया एस्टैब्लिश होने तक इसमें कुछ बोलना उचित नहीं है.
But news and updates that we've been following from Punjab. Now, Shiromani Akali Dal leader Bikram Majithia has now been remanded to a 4-day police custody, this after being produced in the Mohali court. And Bikram Majithia was earlier arrested just last week by the Vigilance Bureau in connection with a DA case. And what's more is that even as this hearing was underway, Shiromani Akali Dal President Sukhbir Singh Badal, he was earlier detained by the Mohali police, now been left, when they attempted to march towards the district court in support of Bikram Majithia. The former Punjab Chief Minister was marching along with hundreds of Akali supporters when he was stopped and detained outside Gurdwara Shri Amb Sahib in Mohali. And there was a heated exchange with senior police officers when Sukhbir Badal was being detained as a preventive measure. Here's a quick conversation. Let's take a listen as to what's happening.
यार गुरुद्वारा साहब जान तो किवें रोक सकदे? अच्छा मेरी बेनती है गुरु घर जान तो रोकोगे? गुरु घर तो तुसीं बाहर जा दो ये कोई टाइम है तुसीं दसोगे गुरु घर कदों जाना सी? पिछे हो जाओ थोड़े 10 मिनट यार गुरुद्वारा साहब जान तो एसपी साहब तुसीं भी एक गुरु दे सिख हो। मैं तो दाई करना पिछों तक मारो यार गुरु घर जान तो एक मैनू दस दो किहड़े कानून च रोक रहे हो? इन्ना तो दस दो सर। गुरुद्वारा साहब मत्था टेकन जाना है किहड़े कानून तहत रोक रहे हो? ये तो दस दो सर। लिख के दे दो नहीं पर एक गल मैं कहना चाहना है
Hearing that was underway before he was remanded to a 4-day custody, and Sukhbir Singh Badal walking with a slew of Shiromani Akali Dal supporters. Sukhbir Singh Badal slammed Arvind Kejriwal, saying the Punjab police acted at the behest of the Aam Aadmi Party government, and he condemned the police action, terming it undemocratic.
मैं पंजाब की जनता ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਕੇਜਰੀਵਾਲ ਨੇ ਪੂਰਾ ਪੰਜਾਬ 'ਚ ਕਬਜ਼ਾ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ। ਇੰਨਾ ਅਕਾਲੀ ਦਲ ਦੀ ਜਥੇਬੰਦੀ ਤੋਂ ਡਰ ਗਿਆ, ਵਰਕਰਾਂ ਡਰ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਘਰ ਘਰ ਪਿੰਡ ਪਿੰਡ ਕੇਜਰੀਵਾਲ ਦੇ ਆਰਡਰ ਤੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਆ ਕੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਰੋਕੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ, ਫੜੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਡੈਮੋਕ੍ਰੈਟਿਕ ਰਾਈਟਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਹੈ, ਹਰ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਦੇ ਹੈ, ਸਾਰੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਖਤਮ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਹੈ। ਇੱਥੇ ਸੁਪਰੀਮ ਅਥਾਰਟੀ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਬਹਿ ਗਿਆ। ਮੈਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਆਓ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਈਏ, ਇਸ ਕੇਜਰੀਵਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਨੂੰ ਆਜ਼ਾਦ ਕਰਾਈਏ। ਇਸ ਕੇਜਰੀਵਾਲ ਨੇ ਨਿਸ਼ਾਨਾ ਰੱਬ ਬਣਾ ਲਿਆ ਕਿ 1.5 ਸਾਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ 10,000 ਕਰੋੜ ਰੁਪਏ ਇਕੱਠਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇਕੱਠਾ ਕਰੂੰਗਾ। ਪਹਿਲਾ ਹਮਲਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਹਮਲਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ 40,000 ਏਕੜ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਅਕਵਾਇਰ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਵੇਂ ਐਕਟ ਤੇ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ। ਮਤਲਬ ਆਇਆ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਠੇਕੇਦਾਰ ਬਿਲਡਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੈੱਟ ਹੈ।
And take a look at this. Breaking developments that we're bringing for all our viewers. Only yesterday, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, whilst he was in Washington, he addressed the media collectively with the Quad foreign ministers who had already held a meeting. And now the Quad has strongly come out condemning the Pahalgam terror attack, the Pahalgam terror carnage that took place on the 22nd of April. The Quad foreign ministers' meet have now issued a joint statement, and the Quad vows to bring together plotters of this terror carnage to justice. Mind you, Quad, a grouping of India, Japan, Australia and the United States, in that joint statement have said conspirators, financiers will not be spared of the Pahalgam terror carnage, 22nd of April. Conspirators, financiers won't be spared. The Quad reaffirming its stand against terrorism and strongly condemning the Pahalgam terror attack. Just yesterday, Marco Rubio, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, their Australian counterpart Penny Wong, collectively addressing the media and talking about terrorism as well. That was a key focal point. And of course, the free movement of the Indo-Pacific and a rules-based world in the Indo-Pacific for the future, for the bright future of Southeast Asia as well. Now, Quad strongly condemning Pahalgam terror attack. My colleague and News 9's senior executive editor Aditya Rajkal with us on the broadcast here. Aditya, help put the story under the right context. You've got Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who's soon going to be attending the BRICS summit as well. And even though we're learning of Xi Jinping not attending, Vladimir Putin going to be absent, the joint declaration is going to mention Pahalgam terror attack of 22nd April. And now the Quad foreign ministers have done the same.
A very strong statement coming in from the meeting at Washington DC, the Quad foreign ministers meeting, in fact condemning the Pahalgam terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir of India on 22nd of April, in which 25 Indian nationals and 1 Nepali citizen were brutally killed. In fact, not only this, the statement, a joint declaration that has been issued by the Quad foreign ministers of India, US, Australia and Japan go on to say, and I quote, "We call for the perpetrators, organizers and financiers of the reprehensible act to be brought to justice without any delay and urge all UN member states, in accordance with their obligations under international law and relevant UNSCRs, to cooperate actively with all relevant authorities in this regard." There's a message for Pakistan as well, that you cooperate or else there will be action. Of course, Operation Sindoor is still underway and India expects Pakistan to act against terror groups like the Lashkar-e-Toiba, the Jaish-e-Mohammed, others. But till now, there hasn't been any action that has been taken by the Pakistani deep state, the Pakistan army, or the Pakistan government. And now the court putting pressure on Pakistan and also condemning Pahalgam terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir, clearly signifying that the court stands with India on this. Yesterday, during the court meeting, External Affairs Minister Jaishankar had also said that India will continue to act against terror. That was a firm message not just to Pakistan but to court as well, that you need to stand with India against terrorism. This also comes at a time when there was an SCO meeting in China where the defense minister had refused to sign the joint declaration because there was no condemnation of the Pakistan-sponsored Pahalgam terror attack.
You know, Aditya, if we're talking about how much of labor pulling India is actually doing amidst all of this, and how perceptive have the global players here been? Take a look at all the all-party delegations that went through across 33 capitals, the SCO, example that you just pointed out. And what's more is that Pakistan is already leading that anti-terror panel, which is quite rich and funny at this point in time at the United Nations. So on the global stand, India's posture and how perceptive and how successful have we actually been in, putting our point across in our fight against terrorism?
I think India has been fairly successful in conveying to the global community that terrorism is a menace, and the entire world, in fact, all the democracies need to stand together against this menace of terrorism, no matter a state-sponsored terrorism or, in fact, a so-called non-state actor building on terrorism against neighbors, etc., as is the case in this Pakistan-sponsored terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. But at the same time, there is, of course, the failure of the United Nations. When the UNSC has completely failed in countering terrorism, UN has also failed in bringing in any kind of reforms. Imagine a terror state like Pakistan being a part of that anti-terror panel or sanctions committee, clearly signifying that the UN needs to look inwards, the UN needs reforms, and democracies who are part of the United Nations system need to evolve as well, need to put pressure on the UN and bring in some kind of a consensus on those reforms. But otherwise, I think democracies across the globe have stood with India when it comes to countering terrorism. There is, of course, a joint effort that is required. And yesterday, jokingly, Marco Rubio, the US Secretary of State, also remarked that, this person standing behind me, Jaishankar, has been traveling all across the globe. The moment I switch on the news, he's in one part of the world or the other part of the world. That clearly signifies that India certainly cannot be ignored today, and New Delhi, is having a pivotal role in global diplomacy and in this new international order.
I think we're reaping benefits of our own efforts here, Aditya, just like External Affairs Minister Jaishankar and all those all-party delegations bypassing the UN like we really needed to at this point in time. Important developments here. It's going to be very interesting to see what comes out of the BRICS summit in that joint declaration as well. Many thanks, Aditya, for joining us here and helping us out with the latest details. And on that note, let's also talk about the future of Tibetan Buddhism, which is once again at the center of a political tug of war. Because now China has come out and said that any successor to Dalai Lama must be approved by the central government, invoking an 18th century Qing dynasty ritual involving a golden urn to legitimize future spiritual leaders. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning reiterated that whilst China claims to respect religious freedom, it also imposes strict regulations, particularly on Tibetan Buddhism. And this comes after the 14th Dalai Lama confirmed that the centuries-old tradition of his reincarnation will continue. The statement aimed to reassure millions of Tibetans worldwide who fear an uncertain future without a spiritual and political leader. But Beijing hit back swiftly, clarifying that it will have the final say on who the successor to Dalai Lama will be. The Dalai Lama, seen by China as a separatist, has lived in exile in India since fleeing a failed uprising in 1959. And as the spiritual leader grows older, there is growing worry amongst Tibetans that a gap in leadership could be taken advantage of by the Chinese government. Beijing insists that Tibetan Buddhism is inherently Chinese, a stance critics say is aimed at tightening control over Tibetan identity and Buddhist religion identity.
The Chinese government implements a policy of freedom of religious belief and has issued regulations on religious affairs and the management of the reincarnation of living Buddhas in Tibetan Buddhism, protecting this way of succession in accordance with the law. The reincarnation of the Dalai Lama must adhere to the principle of domestic search, golden urn draw, and approval by the central government, and be handled in accordance with religious rituals, historical customs, and national laws and regulations.
If it is about Lama's reincarnation, when all the followers have unanimously said that the reincarnation should continue, then it is obvious that it will come. Since my September 24th, 2011 statement, which states that responsibility for doing so will rest exclusively with members of the Gaden Phodrang Trust, the office of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. They should consult the various heads of the Tibetan Buddhist traditions and the reliable oath-bound Dharma protectors, who are linked inseparably to the lineage of the Dalai Lamas. They should accordingly carry out the procedures of search and recognition in accordance with past tradition. I hereby reiterate that the Gaden Phodrang Trust has sole authority to recognize the future reincarnation. No one else has any such authority to interfere in this matter.
It's coming as a major setback for China, with the Dalai Lama clearly indicating that there is a set out path and process in which the Dalai Lama will be in fact constituted. This is the 15th Dalai Lama that we are talking about. The Chinese have hit back and said that they will have the final say on the succession. But the Dalai Lama is very clear, and the Dalai Lama, of course, is followed by thousands and thousands of the Tibetans and others all across India and, of course, all across the globe. In fact, in my hands is the statement that was issued by the Dalai Lama, and thereafter he came out with a video statement as well. He said that I have said that when I am about 90, I will consult the High Lamas of the Tibetan Buddhist traditions, the Tibetan public and the other concerned people who follow Tibetan Buddhism to re-evaluate whether or not the institution of the Dalai Lama should continue. And then he goes on to say that I confirm that the institution of Dalai Lama will in fact continue. He says that I hereby reiterate that the Gaden Phodrang Trust has sole authority to recognize the future reincarnation. No one else has any authority to interfere in the matter. The process by which the future Dalai Lama is to be recognized has to be clearly established in the 24 September 2011 statement, which states that the responsibility for doing so will rest exclusively with the members of the Gaden Phodrang Trust, the office of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So the ambiguity no longer remains. It's absolutely clear now who the next Dalai Lama would be in the process that has been set out now. The name, of course, is not out yet, but the process is very much clear and has been spoken clearly by the 14th Dalai Lama that the 15th Dalai Lama will come out. There is a reincarnation and there is a trust and office that will look out, in fact, to name the next Dalai Lama perhaps in the next few weeks or months. And this is certainly a big setback coming in for Beijing, because China will have no role to play on deciding who the next Dalai Lama would be.
That's in fact the situation right now. The future of Tibetan Buddhism once again at the center of a political tug-of-war, with China now coming out and saying that they will have the final say on who will succeed Dalai Lama. Well, another breaking development. There's been a blast in Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa where 4 Pakistani government officials have been killed, 11 others have been rendered injured. The blast has occurred near Mela ground in Khar Tehsil. This is in the Bajaur tribal district bordering Afghanistan. Take a look at the visuals on your screens of that blast on that car. 4 Pakistani government officials, they've been killed, at least 11 people injured. Security forces have swiftly cordoned off the area, whilst a search and operation and investigation into the attack is underway at this point in time. Another blast that is being reported from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Visuals of the destroyed chassis of the car on your screens as well. The ruined remains of this vehicle that was carrying 4 Pakistan officials, military officials who've been killed. We're learning of government and military officials that were killed in this blast in Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. The blast taking place near the Mela ground in Khar Tehsil in the Bajaur tribal district, this tribal district bordering Afghanistan. And target was the vehicle of Assistant Commissioner of Bajaur districts, Nawagai Tehsil, Faisal Sultan. seems to be the target. The other deceased were identified as Assistant Sub-Inspector Noor Hakim. You've got Tehsildar Wakil Khan and Constable Rashid, along with Assistant Commissioner of Bajaur District's Navagai Tehsil, Faisal Sultan. 4 government officials, Pakistani government officials, killed in this blast in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, in the Bajaur district, the district bordering Afghanistan.